Hello everybody, Tracy Brown here. For those who don't know me, I'm a somatic nutrition therapist and intuitive eating coach and embodiment teacher, and I guess helping us feel better in our bodies guide, whatever labels you want to put on it. So I was going to do a video yesterday around body image actually, and it just never quite, when I went to sit down to do it, it wasn't really just quite getting in line in my head. So I thought I would just wait, which I often do sometimes. I feel like doing videos every day, but I don't, because I don't want to be totally annoying to you all. Because I like it. I like communicating with you all and being with you. And I don't get to, I've been doing this for 12 years and had my own recovery now for over 20. And I don't really get tired of this because I know the potential for freedom and peace that's out there for you. No matter how long you've been struggling with this, being free isn't something that we can always know the timing of, or why, I wasn't ready the first, day that I heard about this message, and why it took me 7 years to get around to it. Why do some people boom? I've worked with clients that I was their first contact with recovery, intuitive eating. They work with me for me and or a therapist for like 2 years, and they were done. There was no more journey. There was just living. And then some people I've worked with, I've known for 10 years, and they've seen me on and off. And that second or third time was the charm, So I always have these wrestling matches sometimes, these conversations with God, even like, why does it take some people longer than others and whatever. So I don't know if it's always up for me to ask. But anyway, I just put that out there, is that if you might be feeling that way too, that, this process, it is a process, like recovery and making peace with food and body and weight is a challenge. And it's a challenge on the physical level because every day, day in and day out, we're facing the programming of you have to be thinner to be happy or healthier. We're facing the programming, if you went to school like I did for nutrition science, for goodness sake, or in dietetics, or if you went to school to be a doctor or a physical therapist or a nurse or any kind of health profession, you're going to hear it, that like fatness is bad and you have to eat your 5 to 10 fruit and vegetables a day to ever be healthy. And, this stuff, the science is... the longer you're in this, the more skeptical you're gonna get, which means that fruit and vegetables do hedge our bets, but for some people they make them very sick and just is not gonna work, or they don't have access. And stressing a person out about not getting the right food in isn't leading them towards health. So it's like I get really skeptical about the fact that, when people are on a diet, of course they eat lower calorie foods, which happen to probably be fruit and vegetables, and of course they move their bodies more because they're trying to use exercise as a tool to lose weight. But when they stop doing those things, because the way they're trying to do it is unsustainable and not at all based in I want to do this, then of course those behaviors are going to end and you lose the benefit. And so that's why when you're shifting from all that to the intuitive eating process, you're so used to having this container of here are the rules and here's how to do it right, and you're not supposed to ever have a bad day, that of course when you're going along and things feel easier, you're happy. And then when something happens, like you get stressed out or your period starts or whatever, and your body gets hungrier and you're looking for a rule book, you're not going to find it with intuitive eating. We're used to, you do the thing, you read the book, you do the thing right, and then you're fine and you don't ever feel bad. Well, the truth is that intuitive eating brings up all our resistances to so many things, like feeling feelings. And I say resistance, I never mean it in a bad way, in a negative way. In fact, whenever I used to work in more clinical settings and people would say, oh, this patient, this client's resistant, I would get so angry I'd almost have to change the subject or leave the room, because people don't want to not do things that would help them. It's just that the way they're doing things is the way that feels safe. It's their protective mechanism. It's their normal. And I'm saying they, I'm gonna say we, because me, this was my story. Is like, if you're taking away something that helps me not feel anxious, or you're taking away the thing that I believe makes me more valuable in my own mind, or more valuable in other people's eyes, you're trying to take that away from me, I'm probably going to look resistant to change, because that thing has helped me for so long. And so those are the things that we're in this intuitive eating process that we don't maybe know that we're bumping up against. And because resistance isn't something you can see or touch or smell or taste, but it's something you can feel. And the first step is when you are like trying to make more peace with food, and then you have a day where you weren't thinking about food, and another day pops up where you're thinking about it a lot, and you beat yourself up. I want you to take a second and take a step back and create some space and say, wait, like, what's going on in me right now that I'm really pushing back against actually wanting to listen to my body, or I don't want to do this process at all. I want to go back to dieting. That happens to every single person. And it's because something is coming up in us that we want to go back to kind of what we know, because it feels safe. And it feels safe because that's what we've been taught to do, to fit in, to go with the program, to go with the flow. And it's not resistance, we're trying to protect ourselves. So I say all this because I think this message is so important, that this process is not, if there was a scale of 1 to 100, the process of becoming more embodied and becoming more of a tuned eater and learning to move in a way that feels, if it can't feel good, at least it doesn't feel torturous to us, is that, or health behaviors, let's say, that we know would help us. It's not that we don't want to do things maybe that would help us. It's that this process, we can learn about intuitive eating, and we can learn like, oh yeah, about the research on health at every size, and it's out there. It's not made up, it's real. But to believe it is a neck down process. You know, it's a very, it is a somatic process, it is a emotional process, and it is a cellular process. You are changing every neural pathway in your body from one of like being in our head and controlling things, to feel safe, to earn worth, to feel stable about something, to this very inner, body trusting, this inner relationship. And we're not taught to be that way. And so when you feel like you want to quit intuitive eating, or you're not even like this is another good example. I have this happen a lot where people will contact me for maybe help, and they will share so much, and it feels like that, like, oh, they're ready to go. It feels like it in the moment, but then there's also this fear of like getting started, and it can feel contradictory. Like, why am I not going ahead and getting the help I need, when it feels like I'm so desperate to like not feel this way anymore? And a lot of times the resistance, sometimes it is maybe that we're not ready to like let go of it. So, and I'm going to reframe that in a second. I say that on purpose. Or we think it's about money or time or whatever it is. And a lot of times it's just the resistance is, oh my gosh, you know, what does that mean about me that I would give myself that much care, or I'd let myself be seen that much, or am I even worthy of that? It's bringing up a bunch of stuff. So it's not resistance to getting help. It's, I don't know if it's okay in some kind of shape or form. So if you're in that position, don't beat yourself up about that. It's just that needs to be looked at. That's all. So the main point of this video, just kind of summarizing here, is that if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, what's the point? This is really hard. That's just your cells, like this like life force in you that's really trying to protect you. And your cells aren't calibrated to all that yet. And they need you to actually lean in to what feels scary about sticking with it. And it might be, oh my gosh, well, if I stick with this, I'll gain a bunch of weight. And of course, it's hard to hear the message of, well, just accept your body anyway, or, well, is that really the worst thing that would happen to you if you gain weight? I know we know that intellectually and emotionally. It's like, well, no, of course not. I mean, I'm still a human. I'm not my size, my shape isn't who I am. But we do have to walk around in the world in these bodies. We do inhabit them. They do get us around, and we do live in them. And, to fully be in them with the bodies we have is scary. It's not what we're used to, So I don't call it resistance, but that could be the thing that makes you feel afraid. To, like, when you're doing intuitive eating for a week or a day or 3 months or a year, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go back on a diet again. It's not because intuitive eating doesn't work. It's not because you're not able to do it. It's that there's something still in you that needs your attention. So I hope all this makes sense. It's kind of heavy for a Friday. But this was the video that has been, I think, kind of percolating me for the last 3 days, and everything else was just going to be forced, so I just let it be. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope this was helpful, and stay with it. Just one day at a time. Stay with listening the best you can. Stay with it, even if you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm out of control with my food again. You're actually not. It's that something unexpected that you didn't know was there needs now to be attended to. Okay, so hang in there. Love you much, and I will talk to you all really, really soon. Take care.